Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of What the Dementia by Bambu Care. I'm your host, Brianna Wilson. I'm a certified dementia practitioner and the founder of Bambu Care. So today we're going to be discussing a pretty controversial topic, and I'm going to be giving my unpopular opinion in hopes that if this applies to you, that it will help you reframe how you think about caregiving so that you can have a more pleasant journey going forward. That is my ultimate goal. Now, I know that I'll probably get some slack for this topic, but as I always say, I'm no stranger to controversial topics, and my intentions are pure, okay? I am here to help. So, before we get into it, if you enjoy our podcast episodes, please be sure to give us a good rating to help other dementia care partners find our podcast. It would be super helpful. Also, if you haven't already, please tune into our housekeeping episode for the month of May. It should be the podcast episode before this one. We have a lot of exciting things coming up, so I don't want you to miss it, okay? And if you would like to keep up with us between episodes, consider following us on Instagram at Let's Bamboo or joining us in our free support community at letsbamboo.com/champions. All right, so today we're going to talk about how caregiving is indeed a choice. And I know some of you hearing this may be immediately cringing or side-eyeing me through this audio, but I want to address this topic because I have come across numerous social media posts and have heard stories from caregivers who feel like they have no choice but to take on the role of being a caregiver. And I'm sure many of you listening to this episode can relate to this sentiment as well. Feeling like you didn't choose to be a caregiver and that you are only a caregiver because you have to be. But what I want to do is have an open discussion about this. How does having that thought make you feel? How does the thought, I have no choice, I have to be a caregiver, make you feel? It likely doesn't make you feel very good. You may hate the fact that you are a caregiver. You may feel resentful of the situation, resentful of your partner, maybe even jealous of others who you feel don't have to be caregivers. Now, I don't want to attach random feelings to your situation, so you'll have to have an honest moment with yourself and be real about your truth. How does I have no choice, I have to be a caregiver honestly make you feel? Good, bad, or indifferent? Now, let's look at the flip side of this. So, on the flip side, we have Brianna over here, which is me, who maybe you know nothing about. Or maybe this is even your first time tuning into What the Dementia, telling you, well, actually, caregiving is a choice. You have a choice to care for your person living with dementia, and you don't have to be a caregiver. It's very much so a decision. Not an easy decision by any means, okay, but definitely a decision. And of course, as with any decision, there's consequences for either choice, right? So, for example, if you are in the United States, there are about 20 states that do not have a filial responsibility law, meaning that in those 20 states, you are not legally obligated to pay for a parent's or relative's food, clothing, housing, or medical expenses. In states where they do have filial responsibility laws, you are obligated to pay for their care. And if you fail to pay for adequate care, then nursing homes and government agencies can in fact initiate legal action to recover the cost of caring for the parents or relatives. And in some states, you can even go to jail. Now, as I hinted towards, these laws vary from state to state, but these laws are mostly about money. So, caring for your family member with money and paying for their bills in the event that they cannot pay for themselves. Then, of course, there are laws around abandonment and neglect and things like that, which do have a stronger case if you live near your parents, okay? But if you really feel strongly about not being a caregiver, there are options. And the best way to figure out what your options are is to look up your state's filial responsibility laws and abandonment laws, and then consult an elder law attorney for what the alternatives could be for you in your situation, okay? Now, I am not advocating for you to not take care of your parents, but I am saying if you really don't want to, you don't have to. But it's best to make an informed decision, an informed choice, because again, it is a choice, and all choices come with consequences, whether good, bad, or both. Now, I know some people will still argue and say, well, I'm not trying to risk getting in trouble or going to jail, so no, I don't have a choice. This isn't up to me. Which I definitely understand the argument, believe me. But that's still technically a choice, right? What you are really saying is, I am choosing to care for this person because I don't want to go to jail or get in trouble. It's a choice, because you could also choose to take your chances with the law and say, look, I'm just not doing it. I don't care about the consequences. I don't want to be a caregiver, and I'm not going to be. And we see something similar with siblings all the time, and it causes a lot of tension in families because oftentimes one or more siblings will choose not to be involved, leaving the perceived responsibility on the remaining sibling. It's kind of like a game of not it, right? Now, why do siblings do this? Well, it's usually because they know which of the siblings will step up to the plate when no one else does. And making the choice to say, not it, works better for them, even if it jeopardizes their relationship with their parents or other siblings. They are willing to make that choice and deal with the consequences. And this is also why I encourage people to not get so upset with family members who choose not to be involved, because everyone has the right to choice and to make decisions for themselves, regardless of how it may affect others, which can be unfortunate, but it's a right we all have and can exercise in a way that best meets our needs, okay? So let's think about this for a minute. Why do we choose to take on the role of a caregiver? Siblings or no siblings, family or no family, help or no help, even if we would really rather not. It's typically out of ethical or moral obligation, right? It's because we don't want to abandon that person. It's because we don't want to think about what would happen to that person if we didn't step in. It's because if we didn't step in, they may have no one, and we recognize that they need someone. And in some cases, it's because we love that person, but not always, right? So, what I want you to do is think long and hard about why you choose to care for your person. What is your honest reason? And there's no judgment. I mean, I can't hear your thoughts anyways, right? So be honest with yourself. Even if you are someone who literally became a caregiver overnight, you answered the quote unquote call to take on the responsibility of being a caregiver. Why didn't you just say, that's unfortunate, but that's not my problem? Why didn't you just say, I'm sorry, but I won't be able to help with that? Why didn't you say, thanks for letting me know, but you're going to have to find someone else who can step in? Why did you decide to step up to the plate and take on the role of being a caregiver? So please pause this podcast episode if you need to, but I seriously want you to think about it. Why did you choose to care for your person? Whatever your reason is fine. It only has to be accepted by you. It's no one else's business what your reason is. But obviously, it is nice if it stems from a place of good intentions, right? But whatever the case, it's important to be aware of why you made that choice. Now, my recommendation is to identify with a reason that feels good to you. But maybe you aren't there yet. So, whatever your reason, cool. Okay, now I want you to compare how it feels to say, I choose to be a caregiver versus I have to be a caregiver. My hope is that it will feel a lot more empowering and that saying and accepting that you choose to be a caregiver gives you back much of the power you may have felt like you lost by embarking on this journey. And guess what? Guess what happens when you realize you made a choice? You will also realize that you even get to choose what kind of caregiver you will or won't be. It puts intention back into your life. You don't have to feel like life is just happening to you. Every day is filled with opportunities to make choices. Some choices will be in your best interest. Some choices will be in your partner's best interest. Some choices will be in the interest of others. But guess who gets to make the choice? You do, okay? So even if you don't actually like being a caregiver and all that can entail, that's okay. That's understandable. But just like you are choosing to still give care, you can choose to make other decisions that make you feel better about the journey you are now embarking on. And guess what? You can even change your mind at any point. And I know that sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but you can, and it's completely okay to change your mind. Now, I'll be honest and say that a big key to a happier caregiving journey starts with cleaning up your mindset, okay? Which is not easy by any means, and taking your power back. And it's going to take some work, but I need you to understand that one of the greatest gifts we have as humans is the gift of choice, and no one can steal that gift away from you. You just have to be willing to accept the consequences of your choice, whatever that may look like, okay? So, my last question for you is what choice will you make for yourself today? I hope that it will be one that empowers you. But again, it's your decision to make, okay? So, I hope this episode gave you something to think about and that I didn't upset anyone too much. But if I did, I just want you to know that it definitely was not my intention, okay? My only intention is to help you as you journey through this caregiving experience, okay? So, if there's any way that we can support you through your dementia care journey, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at hello@letsbamboo.com. Again, if you find our podcast helpful, please consider leaving us a review to help others find the podcast. If anyone has any questions, comments, or future podcast requests, remember you can send us an email at podcast@whatthedementia.com. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of What the Dementia by Bambu Care. We look forward to catching you on the next episode. Take care, and until next time, stay strong, care on, and remember, you are not alone. Bambu Care is always here.